Tonight on World News, sudden impact. Nearly 24 tornadoes carve a path of death and destruction. The wild weather showing no mercy, and there's more violent storms on the way. And the growing flood threat this evening, not just along the Mississippi, but in the West, where they're bracing for a major melt. Family First, one of the Republicans' biggest hopes, bows out, giving his reason tonight. And worried party leaders asking, who can we get to run against President Obama? False prophet, the man who spent his life savings saying the world was ending, jeered when the time came. So what's he saying now? We ask him tonight. And using your voice, graduation day across this country, inspired by the young woman who survived one nerve-wracking moment, to our moment, turning the tables on the graduates.
From ABC News, this is ABC World News with David Muir.
And good evening on this Sunday night. The skies darkened, the winds howled, and this was the scene in Tornado Alley as the funnel clouds descended. After the worst April on record for tornadoes in this country, the violent storms returned this weekend. More than 20 twisters reported now across 4 states. The small town of Redding, Kansas, taking a direct hit. The local newspaper there saying not a single inch was spared. 200 buildings damaged or destroyed, even a lunch spot that had been called before this all the Miracle Cafe tonight is destroyed. Millions of Americans now on alert. Tornado watches are posted from Texas to Michigan, and Clayton Sandell leads us off.
Spring has been a season for the record books.
Go that way, go that way, go that way!
One twister tore apart the small town of Redding, Kansas. One man was killed.
Other than that, all the medical issues we've dealt with to this point have been stress-related from the aftermath.
The stress and shock of seeing more than a dozen homes destroyed and hundreds of others damaged. Reporters given a tour of the destruction today came across the battered but still standing Miracle Cafe.
We'll get it cleaned up. We'll get it back. If the building's gone, then I'll rebuild.
Today in Minneapolis, a tornado blew through this neighborhood. Other funnel clouds were spotted in Missouri and Nebraska, adding to an already unprecedented twister tally. 875 tornadoes in April alone have killed 361 people. In Topeka, Kansas, hail the size of golf balls pounded the pavement and shattered car windows.
Many areas will get hit with severe weather repeatedly here for the next several days.
While out west, there is growing concern over the record amounts of snow, dwarfing the plows trying to clear it. Across a huge swath of landscape, snowpack levels are greater than 150% above normal, a nightmare flooding threat as it all starts to melt.
As we progress into late spring and early summer, that's not a good recipe, and we will likely see some flooding into the lower terrain as we approach the month of June.
And tonight, wind, hail, and tornadoes are forecast from north to south as yet another town picks up the pieces. Clayton Sandell, ABC News.
And as Clayton showed us there, the little town of Redding, Kansas, a scene of devastation this evening. And Justin Robinson from our affiliate KMBC in Kansas City is in Redding at a church where families sought cover. Justin.
Trees down, home destroyed. That's what many people are coming back to in this small town of Redding in Kansas. Take a look here in the background. You can see what used to be a big grain silo until the tornado came through and destroyed it. With all this damage we see in the community, it's hard to believe that there were so few injuries, but one reason is because they had such an early alert about the storms coming through, and many people were able to go to this church over here, one of only 2 churches in town, the only church with a basement. At least 40 to 50 people gathered in that basement as the storms came through, keeping them safe. David?
Justin Robinson from KMBC tonight, where so many families sought cover. Well, from the sudden impact of the tornadoes to the slow-motion disaster along the Mississippi River that continues, and tonight a new concern about the levees that have been holding back the water